Hey guys, so I'm gonna do the fire drill tag. I was tagged to do this by Reading Martin, like at the beginning of February, and this was created by Liz Loves Literature. I'll put a link to both of their videos down below. Basically, the way this works is your house is on fire and you have to assume that your loved ones are out of the house, and you just have a few minutes to just grab a couple of books or whatever to take out of the house with you. There's a few rules. You're only allowed to take the books that you can fit under one arm, because I obviously need at least one arm to carry my cat out. Take books from a trilogy or a series. You're only allowed to take one book from that trilogy or series, and you're not allowed to use like weird hypotheticals like, oh, I'm gonna put stuff in a backpack and stuff like that. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. If I had a fire in my house, books would not be the first thing I would save. The first thing I would save is my computer. I would stuff that into a book bag, and then I would grab my camera because I kind of need both. They're both really expensive, and I don't really want to let them burn up in my house. So those would be the first things I would grab, and that would mean my book bag is already filled up with my computer anyway, so I don't really have that option anyway. So let's just say that my book bag with my laptop in it and my camera are already on me, so I'm just gonna grab the books that I think I would grab in that situation. To be honest, I think in that situation I might actually just grab all of the books that I haven't read yet that I've just bought. I do have a sort of attachment to a lot of the books that I own, but at the same time I would rather grab the books that I just bought and grab books that I haven't read yet, though there are a few books that I'm attached to that I would definitely want to save and take with me. The first one is Lizzie's Story by Stephen King. This is the book that I consider to be my all-time favorite. I read this in high school, and it's about like a married couple, but I still felt like a really huge connection to it when I first read it. I had just started really getting into Stephen King. I'd read a bunch of his books, and then I read this. I think this had just come out right around the time that I had read it, and I felt like it was so different from everything else that I had read by Stephen King so far, and it just made me really happy to read, to see how different it was, and it blew me away completely, and I fell in love with it, and I have been in love with it ever since then, so I would definitely save this. The next book I would save is this most recent favorite, is House of Leaves by Mark C. Danielewski. This is a book that I can imagine myself reading over and over again in the future, just because it's a lot of fun to go through it and try to pick up on new things, I think. And I feel like if I kept this book, I would definitely want to go through and reread it and just find some new interesting things that I have never seen before in my first read through. And yeah, I mean, I'm really the type of person that does a lot of rereading of books, especially the books that I love, so I definitely can see myself rereading this book in the future, so that's pretty much why I'm taking it. The next book would be Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. I chose this book out of all the books in the Harry Potter series because I think, other than the third one, Prisoner of Azkaban, this is definitely my favorite, and since it's so close to the end of the series, I really like the kind of mood of this book, how different it is from the first few books, and the introduction of Horcruxes really kind of solidifies the story for me. This is really the huge turning point in the series. The second to last book, it just makes everything else make so much more sense, in my opinion. Makes the rest of the series just so much better, in my opinion. And I feel like if there was one Harry Potter book that I would like to reread over and over again, then this would probably be it. I thought very heavily about saving the very first one, Sorcerer's Stone, because I bought it when I was 8 at Toys R Us with my birthday money or allowance money or something, and it was the first book I ever bought for myself, but it's literally falling apart. The pages are all falling out. So I honestly don't really want to keep it anyway, so I'm just going to choose this one. The next book I choose is the only other Stephen King book I would choose because it's the one that I think I have the most fun reading. I've reread this, I think, maybe 3 times since it first came out because it's just one of the funnest Stephen King books I've ever read. I have read several of his other books over again, and if my house didn't catch on fire, which I hope it doesn't, and all my books are safe, then I would definitely read the ones that I haven't really read yet over again at some point. But this one is just one that I would find myself coming back to because it's just a lot of fun to read, and I think I'd be happiest rereading this one over all of the other ones. The next book is the one book that I would be able to save from the Pendragon series, and that is book 3, The Never War. This is definitely my favorite book in the series, mainly because it has 3 characters working together in it that don't appear working together in any of the other books in the series, and that's not a spoiler or anything if you haven't read the series and you feel like you want to because of how much I've talked about it. It's just that the way the story works, the characters kind of rotate in a certain way, and this is the only book where these three characters are really together, working together. I really love the setting of it. I just really love the way DJ Michael wrote this book in particular. If I were to choose another book in the series, it would probably be the 9th one, Raven Rise. Like The Half-Blood Prince, that book is the second to last book in the series, and kind of makes the entire series before it worth it, and kind of pushes us into the last book. And it's a really great penultimate book in the series. But this book, I think, is the one that I would enjoy reading the most over and over again, because of the characters that are in it, because of the story within it, because of the setting, and just because I remember loving it more than any of the other books. The next 3 books I would choose are 3 classics that I've been meaning to read for a really long time, that I just bought and was planning on reading very, very soon, and I'd be really upset if I had to push off reading them any more than I already have, because I've been meaning to read these for years and years, and that is Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World, and Slaughterhouse-5. Like I said, I just really want to still read those books, and the fact that I just bought them, it would really upset me to see them not get saved. Then the next book is Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. I chose this book because, once again, I just bought it, and it was pretty expensive because it's so big, and also just because it's really long, so I feel like if all of my books got burned, then I could read this, and this would be a great book to hold me over while I waited to replace all of my other books, because it's so long, and because it just seems really interesting. I've heard really great things about it, and I don't want to have to buy it again in order to read it, so I'm going to add that to the pile of books I'm going to save. And the very last book, I'm assuming that this is going to happen like a few days from now, where I have already finished The Well of Ascension, the second book in the Mistborn trilogy, so I'm just going to bring the last book in the Mistborn trilogy, Hero of Ages, so I can finish the story, see how it ends, and just because I love this series so far, and I just would be really upset if I had to wait to read the ending of it. So I'm definitely bringing that with me. Now let's see if I can fit all of these books in one arm. I'm pretty sure I can. They're kind of big. They're all kind of big. They're all look like they're... Oh yeah, that's fine. There we go. We're good. How many books is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 books. I benefit from having long arms. I can carry all these pretty easily. Awesome. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like this video. I hope you like this tag. I'm not really sure who's been tagged to do this or not, so I'm just going to look through my subs in a minute, choose some people to do this tag, and I'll put them on the screen right now. And if you guys that I'm tagging want to do this, then feel free to do it. It's actually kind of fun to think about. Honestly, these choices would probably change in like a week or 2 weeks or so, based on what I've finished reading and what I have just bought and what I plan to read next. But yeah, it was fun to do. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you so much for watching.